welcome to episode 17 of my podcast. This is my fortnightly vlog on knitting, crochet, yarn dyeing, macrame, anything else that seems like a good idea at the time. You can find me on Instagram as Mel Brown Crafting Podcast. I'm Funky40 on Ravelry, and we have a group on Ravelry for this podcast where you can make comments, and that's where the show notes are. So if you're interested in finding out more about anything or anyone that I mention, there's a link down below which will take you over to the Ravelry group, and there's links there to all the patterns, and if there's anything I've forgotten to link, just pop a comment and I'll address it. Super! Right, let's get going. This is Shiloh, my little Siamese kitten. Well, she's not a kitten, she's 4 years old I think, but she's tiny. One of the other cats was around here a minute ago. I filmed her a bit because she just wouldn't get off my lap. She was eating my book. I've got this book here, and she was eating first of all this bit where the pencil goes, and then this, and she just wouldn't leave it alone. But thankfully she's gone off to terrorise somebody else now. Right, so lots and lots of stuff. Oh, it's been such an exciting fortnight. So we'll get going. Start off with where are they now? So what happened to the projects that you've seen before? Okay, the first one is one that I actually said was a finished object and you weren't going to see again, but I was wrong, because it's the Adora top, yeah, and I had made it for my daughter and we were all finished, but I'd said that at the front it was just a bit too, it wasn't big enough, so I was going to block it to make it a bit bigger. Well, that didn't work very well, so it isn't much bigger. So what I did was I added on these little bits here. So I just went into the edge that was already there. Let's hold it up like, oh, that's better. And just did some little shells along there, and then I'd added in some to give it a kind of ruchy, it's a bit accidental, but I like it, kind of ruchy effect. Is that a word? Anyway, there it is. So when she's wearing it, it fits a lot better, and it covers her up a bit more. So that's all done. That's I've got this left of the third ball. It used a lot more yarn than I thought it would. You've seen all this before, but just for anybody who's new and hasn't seen all this before, there it is in the imaginatively coloured white colourway. Imaginatively named colourway white. So that is definitely finished now, really. And I'm going to put it away in my Christmas box, and we won't see it again until then. Exciting. Okay, so that's my first. Where are they now? The cat's moving, which is going to make my editing not very seamless. Oh well. Okay, next where are they now is my September socks. So my monthly pair of socks for the Boxer Socks Cal, but I've renamed these. I talked to you about them last time, that the colourways are actually different in the balls. Didn't notice that because they look a lot more similar in the ball than they do in the sock. Yeah. Okay, so here they are. I'm calling them sisters from a different mister. When you see them like this, it's... Which way do I turn you? That way. It's obvious they're not the same colourway, isn't it? Oh well, I don't care. I love them. The two yarns, let me show you. I saw these again recently and I was reminded of how cheap they actually are. So it's Drops Delight print. The colourways are 10 and 15. I saw these for sale at Yarndale, which is a big yarn festival up here in Skipton, which was last weekend. I'm going to tell you all about that in a minute. There was something like £3.10 or something a ball, and that's a 50-gram ball. So you get a pair of socks for £6 roughly. That's pretty cool, isn't it? And it is beautiful the way the colours come out. There's a huge range of colourways, and to my experience, that they wear fine. They're not, you know, they don't fall apart or anything. They're the standard 75-25, I would think. So 2.75mm needles, as always for me, 64 stitches, and then I've just done a garter rib So first row round is knit 4, purl 4, and the next round is knit them all. And then obviously just a stocking stitch on the foot at the bottom, a German short row heel, and I couldn't resist. I normally do a twisted rib or 1x1 twisted rib, or yeah, but I couldn't resist doing this little thing where the 4 stitches twist slightly and become 2. I don't know if you can really see that very well, but it amused me to do it anyway. No, that's even worse. So we've got 4x4 here, and I've just done little twists on one row to make it 2x2, and I've carried on with that. I'm actually going to start doing my socks longer than I have been, because I had a pair on zigzagular yesterday with my boots, and they're only ankle boots, but the socks, I didn't feel they came up as high as I would have liked them to, and I thought, by the time I've kind of turned the heel and done a little bit, I get impatient and I want to have my socks. But I actually could probably enjoy them. My friend Dolbella, she's knitted a couple pair of socks for me, and they're much longer. There's a really long rib on them, and I really like that. So I'm going to start making mine longer. One thing I did do with this, I am such a silly sausage. This kind of yarn where you get a slow transition of colours, it's so much better to do the heel in a different yarn, because otherwise you get a real change at the front. So you're working all the way around and round and round, and then you just don't work on the front for a while, you just work on the back. So you're doing your short rows for the back, for the heel, and then you come back to the front, and there can be quite a dramatic colour change. I've got away with it more or less with this one. Look, you wouldn't really know, but this one I really didn't get away with it. No, it's the other way around. That one, the transition is around here. This one, the transition is here. Now you can see, can't you, exactly where I switched from going back and forth on the heel and came back into the round. It's really obvious. So I am a silly sausage. I got away with it here. It was here. But there were such dark colours already. Yeah. So that was a silly thing to do. But you know, I'd got part way through the first heel, and when I thought, oh no, this is a singles yarn, it's not easy to frog, and I'm lazy. So I thought, oh, what the hell, done it now. I'll just get on with it. So I'm not far off doing that, and this is just lovely to have in my bag. I'm going to the dentist again with the daughter this afternoon, so I'll sit in the waiting room, knit 2 purl 2 all the way around, and then I'll sit while she's having her treatment done. So that's lovely. I'll finish that off very soon. So this is from a different mister for my September socks. So I needed to finish those. Well, my target was to finish those in September. It is now the 2nd of October, so I'm slightly off with that. And I want to finish the December ones before Christmas, so I'm going to give myself my box of 12 pairs of socks. So I need to get up the pace a little bit. So I think I might just choose 3 sock yarns and cast on 3 pairs of socks, October, November, December ones, and just have those kicking about and just pick them up whenever, to just make sure I get those done this year. I might do that this period actually before the next podcast. Okay, so that's my, because I've got this hibernating 3 still. It sounds like the, oh, I can't think of the name of them. There's something for people who are in jail wrongly or something. Anyway, the hibernating 3. So September socks makes 4 works in progress. Let's see what's next. So my next work in progress is my Nomad by Fate. True, if you're watching, fast forward to this timestamp. Now she's gone, we can talk about it. So this is a present for my brother, who is colourblind, and his wife, who is not. And it's a cushion cover, pattern called Nomad by Fate by Martin Up North. Follow him on Instagram, he's got a really, really good feed. Well, there you go. Isn't it beautiful? Approaching, you can see we've got points here. We've got 1, 2, and we're approaching the end. In fact, we may have got to the end of the 3rd one, and now we're going to do something slightly different because they're going to come in So I'm ready to start on that. It's a lovely pattern. It's beautiful. I'm really enjoying it. I'm using Scapious, and I had another lesson again on how to say this from Carmen of New Leaf podcast. Do you watch that? I watch it, and I bumped into her. I'll come back to that later. So I had another lesson on it. I hear her say it all the time. I hear people say it all the time. Scapious. That's it. Callista, which was actually the yarn suggested in the pattern. And I had a bit of a moan about it last time. I left it for a week or so, and I picked it up again. I think I might have been a bit harsh on it. I think I might have said something like about 1 in 3 stitches it splits and I have problems with. I think I was exaggerating. It is very splitty. And quite often when I've got it on my tensioned in front of me, I can see the 4 plies just come apart in front of me. But it's actually not as bad as I was thinking. And I'm just taking it really slow. And when you take it slow, which is not my instinct with any craft, particularly not crochet, when I take it slow, it just it splits less. So I said last time it's my mindfulness project, so that's what's going on. I'm just taking my time with it and just doing, and you get to change colour every round, which is just lovely, because you know how lovely colour is. Look at these colours, I mean, it's gorgeous. And then that's going to get to 10 centimetres square, and then, well, I'll block it to that. And then I'm going to do a fabric back. I haven't worked out what fabric yet, but I'm going to do that. And that's for Christmas, so I've got plenty of time yet. So probably nearly halfway through the width, as it were, but of course that's not halfway through the crochet because each round gets bigger. But I love it. I'm very happy to be plodding away at it, really enjoying it. Is there anything else I wanted to say about that? I don't think so. Or did you notice this? This is my Hotel of Bees shawl. I made it in May on holiday. Oh my goodness, it's so lovely to make and so lovely to wear. And this is Scapious as well, actually, stonewashed. Anyway, if you look at an earlier episode, I gas on about this quite a bit, but it's really come into its own because it's autumn here in the UK. I think about 85% of the people who watch this are in the UK, so you know it's autumn. And of course it's probably autumn in the US as well, isn't it? Except you'd call it fall. Rambling. Okay, so that's my next work in progress. So what does that make? 5. Okay. My next work in progress is the bee pyjama case for my second daughter. So this is what it's going to look like. It's cute. So I have showed you the feet last time, the legs. Here's the body. I think I'd almost finished that before, so I have now finished it, and I bought a button at Duttons for Buttons in Harrogate. Really lovely little shop. I've done a couple of wings. There's 4 you need to make of those. I did both of those at the same time. I just need to sew those together. The face is the thing I'm having problems with. You know when I talked to you about Susan Claudino's patterns, about how she makes it really clear where to put all of the things, that the face things with stitches, you know, you put in a little pearl stitch so that you know where. Well, this has had a go at that, but I'm still really struggling with the face, so don't get children, look away. It's scary. So you're meant to knit circles for the black for the eyes, and you know when you could crochet a circle, I wouldn't bother knitting one. So I've crocheted a couple of circles and I've attached them as she said, where she said to put them, and I've put the mouth on, and always fine there. But I crocheted a couple of little tiny white circles. In the picture she's just got little tiny white things, and I just thought I'd just do a couple of circles, but it's not going well. I had them on in the middle and it looked scary. So I've got some really great friends at knit group, so I'm going to knit group tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to take these, and actually that reminds me I need to take the white yarn as well, because if I decide to make those eyeballs bigger, there it is, the stuff from the Adora, I'm going to put that with it. So when I go tomorrow afternoon, they're going to give me some suggestions on what to do with those eyes to get them looking a bit nicer. It needs antenna as well, which I could do with making those tonight so that we can get those on. But I just want it to be a cute face, not a scary face. So I haven't stuffed that yet. So you're meant to have stuffed it by now, but I didn't want to sew the eyes on with it being stuffed because it's harder. I don't know. I'm doing things in all the wrong order, but I don't care. So I need to finish off the face, do the antenna, and there's little pom-poms. I need to do another pair of these for the wings. Then I think that's the knitting done. I just need to assemble it and run in all the blooming ends. Loads and loads of ends to run in. But yeah, I think it's going to be really, really cute. I'm looking forward to seeing her face when she sees that. This is my child who doesn't do surprises, so she'll see it complete before Christmas. She'll, you know, come in every now and then, every couple of weeks or so, she'll come in and have a look at it and play with it and stuff. And then she'll get it at Christmas. It's funny. I don't know how kids are all so different. My eldest loves surprises, and my youngest, I think she does too. So yeah, funny, that's in my Mad as a Hatter bag. Right, so that is work in progress number 6. So, I've shown you a lot of my cowls that I make, the window pane cowls. I make a lot of them because they are so quick and the pattern is lovely. And I had bought a whole load of Signet Spirit, Boho Spirit yarn. Showed it to you a few weeks ago now. A lovely lady called Mary commented about the Moonbeam, which was the pink and white and grey, and said she loved the look of the colourway, but she looked on Ravelry, and what a great resource Ravelry is, to see what people had made with it, and she was a bit disappointed. And I looked myself and I agreed. Some of the projects, you just kind of thought, it looked nicer in the ball. Better to just put a frame around it and keep the ball. So I was hoping that this project would actually do justice to the yarn. And I think it has. Mary, what do you think? Here it is. So you can see that you know, I had a bit of a ramble last time about yarn weights and yarn yardages, meterages or whatever. I did a 4 window cowl, so the actual pattern isn't for a cowl, it's for a scarf, and it's got 5 windows, but I did a 4 window one. Yeah, it's plenty long enough. I used, let me think, what did I have left? That much. So I actually could have done a bit more, but what I wanted to do was to get the colours right. Where's my join? I think it's in the grey, isn't it? Oh, it's here. The join's over here. So it was going to go back towards white and grey, and I wasn't going to be able to make a good join. Let's show it on the right side. So I did it there so that I think I pretty much got away with the join. And if I'd have carried on with any more of the yarn, it would have been a sharp colour change. So I think that worked quite well. And let me just take my Hotel of Bees off for a minute. Twice, it wraps twice, but a little bit more. So you'd either kind of have one tight and one loose, or both loose, or, do you know, at a push, and depending on various things, you might wear it 3 times. That's too tight for me. I'd feel a little bit claustrophobic. So I would probably wear one loose and one tight, don't know. So I don't know, I'd rather have it fitted as 1 or fitted as 2. No, sorry, fitted 2 wraps or 3 rather than this sort of 2.5, but it's okay. And I found a recipient for it. My niece is going to have that, but she's actually going to Australia in a week or 2 for a year. So I'm going to have to post that. She was here last weekend. I could have given it to her, but I just wanted to show it to you first. So that's what's left of that. I will probably give that to Amanda, who is Mooland Gifts, on Instagram and on YouTube, because she gets all the ends of my stuff. Sorry, I'm fiddling with my cowl now. She gets all the ends of my stuff that that I don't know what else to do with, because she's so inventive. She thinks of brilliant things to do with these stuff. So I'll probably end up giving that to her. And I wanted to show you this bag as well. This is a little triangular bag. I've shown it before, but it was made by a friend of mine. Hi Liz. And it's just so perfect for this. So I've got my yarn in the bag. You zip it up and then you've got this little hole. So my crochet comes out and I can walk, whatever. Now I've decided this is going to be my window pane cowl bag. So there's going to be a cowl in here all the time. Just, you know, those random gifts for people that I haven't kind of quite planned a gift for yet. So I'm going to have one in there all the time, which is fab. Right, so that's not a work in progress because that's a finished object. So we're still at 7, we're still at 6. Okay, right, another, oh, do you know what? I tripped over and fell into new whips on the block, didn't I? Didn't say anything about it. I made a list, but I made a mess of it. Sorry about that. I'm sure you don't really care. So, the project for my sister-in-law, that was the last of the projects that you'd already seen. Then the bee pyjama case was the start of new projects. So this is new as well. So this is a really simple pattern called Fortune's Shawlette, and I have got a lovely skein of yarn from Northshire Yarns. Now she's local to us here and she's fab. So this is the composition. So it's really gorgeous yarn. For any of those who couldn't read that, 70% baby alpaca, 20% silk and 10% cashmere. So it is super soft and delicious. So I did this really simple pattern and I'll show it to you, although I haven't quite finished it. So, let's give you a bit of a close-up. The colourway is Tula, so it's kind of light purple, lavender, some pinks, lighter pinks, some teal, really light teal. It's just really, and the feel of it, oh. When I'm working on it and I'm just holding it in my hand, I can feel the warmth from my hand just gently coming back at me. It's really amazing, so I can't wait to have it around my neck. And I've been moaning about splitty yarns for crochet recently. This doesn't split. I can crochet at any speed I like and it doesn't split. It holds together beautifully. It is absolutely delightful yarn. It really is. It makes me so happy. But I have made a bit of a dog's dinner of the project because you do a kind of a triangle, and it's like the corner to corner blanket that I did. It's very similar pattern. So you start and then you're just increasing all the time and it gets bigger and bigger, and then when you get to, you've done it, you've got 40 blocks. It's a free pattern. You then put a special edge along and then you do edging along here back and forth. Well, I finished the whole thing and I had 33 grams left and it wasn't big enough. Now that doesn't make me happy because I wanted to use, I wanted to have a little bit spare to put in my blanket, but I didn't want to have a whole lot spare. That was way too much and it wasn't big enough, although it will block bigger. The dial says about another 30, about another third, 30%, whatever, bigger. It's still, I didn't want to have all that spare yarn. I wanted to get it into the project. So I ripped back the whole border and I weighed it before and after I ripped back the border so I know how much. There was about 10 grams of yarn in the border, so I thought add another 20%, so that's 12 grams, and I'll make sure I leave 12 grams for the border. And I went back and carried on the increasing. Unfortunately, that formula didn't work for me. I had 12 grams left. I did all the border and I didn't manage to complete the penultimate row, let alone the last row. So unfortunately that didn't work. So I wasn't going to rip it all back again because it's no fun. The other thing I did, actually at the suggestion of Annika, who is Northshire Yarns, I had done the body of it all up to the end in the 6mm hook, and she suggested that when I frogged it back and I started increasing again, I went to a 7mm, which did. And of course that would have affected the amount of yarn I needed for the border as well. So, you know, what can you do? I made a mess of it. So I've ripped it back, not all the way past the border, because that the first row of the border I really didn't like doing. I had to do it twice. So what I'm going to do now, I asked my friend last night for some ideas. She does a lot of crocheting, a lot of lace and stuff, and she suggests just a kind of simple 3 US singles, UK doubles in a row, and then a chain 3 slip stitch, like a little picot thing, for a nice simple edging. Hello Clyde. Which I will try out. I need to do it today because I'm going to knit group tomorrow, and Andrea, who gave me the advice, is my blocker. I'm rubbish at blocking, so she has agreed very kindly to block my stuff for me, so I need to give it to her tomorrow to block. I'm just hoping this fella will come and get settled so that we can say hello to you. This is my old fella. He is 14 or 15. Isn't he gorgeous? Can you hear him purring? Delightful. Okay. He's got a big grass seed in his fur. I'm going to need to give him a good brush later on. Ugh, a lump of it coming out. Sorry. Right. So, I'll have that finished very soon, and with any luck, I'll have it blocked and ready to show you next time, which will be lovely. Now, my main reason for crocheting that, not just because it's beautiful, but because I'm going to be on the Northshire Yarns stand at the Knitting and Stitching Show in November. So I wanted to have something to wear that I'd made with the yarn. That's as good an excuse as I've ever had for buying and using yarn. So that's what that's for. So I've got no rush for that, but I do want to wear it whilst it's not that cold, because I usually wear cowls inside the house. I know a lot of people only wear them outside, but I wear cowls and scarves and shawls inside the house all day long because I get so cold. And then I get suddenly so hot and I have to whip them off. But this will just be lovely at home, just to have just snuggly. And I can't wait to wear it. I really can't. Okay. Sorry if the cat's interrupting your view. I'm quite certain though that the cat is actually more interesting than me. Hello. No. Okay. So that is all of my works in progress and all that kind of stuff. So that's 7 works in progress right now. How many was it last time? I think it was about the same, wasn't it? 8. So it seems that that's a good working number for me, although having said that, 3 of those are still in hibernation, so I guess that's really only 4. But I'm getting through them so quickly at the moment that, yeah, I'm going through them, so every time I see you there's like a whole lot of new ones. But if I switch back to knitting, that will probably ease up a bit. Okay, that's that. One more thing to show you project wise. I showed you my wisteria trellis Joanne Scrace shawl, and I've since had it blocked because Andrea blocked it for me, and here it is. So the main difference you'll see is in this bottom lace stuff. It's just really pulled it out, hasn't it? Yeah, it's lovely. It's a really lovely pattern. I would have enjoyed crocheting it more if I hadn't had such splitting problems with this yarn here. But it's so pretty, isn't it? Okay, so that's that done. That's going in the Christmas box because that's a gift. So let's look at something new. It was Yarndale. I've been putting links in for the last couple of podcasts, so you'll probably have seen the website. But it's a festival. It's not been going that long, but it's a 2-day, Saturday and Sunday, late September, yarn festival, and it is very, very vibrant, and it's a very happy place. You know, you kind of get a different vibe from different places. There's the big knitting and stitching show in Harrogate, which is annual at the end of November, and that has a vibe of really kind of busyness and business. It feels quite commercial. It's overwhelming in many ways. There's 3 or 4 halls full of vendors, and it's as the name suggests, yarn, needles, buttons, fabric, embroidery, all that kind of stuff for knitting and for sewing. So it is a bit mad, and you feel a bit of panic trying to get round it all, and It's brilliant. I really have loved it. I've been for many years, but Yarndoll's got a really different vibe to it. It feels like there's more indie vendors there. It's in a cattle market, for goodness sake. You're kind of in. You can sit in some of the stalls and have a cup of tea. There's cafes in the little stalls. They sell sheep and stuff in there. So it's a really amazing place. If you didn't make it this year, just have a look at it for next year. It's the last 2 days, 28th or 29th again, September in Skipton, North Yorkshire. So I was really, really excited about it. I took a whole load of my knit group. There was 5 of us that went together. We kind of ambled around. I met up a few times, so it was a really, really amazing event. So I'm going to run through what I bought, but I'm going to do it in 2 lots, I think, because of the recording. So let's get started. I'll just open the bag and just take things out one at a time. So first of all, I wanted to make a lefty Martina Bame. It's a beautiful thing. I'll put in a picky. So the idea is you have a base colour, and then you do the little sticky out bits and stripes. They're from leftover sock yarn. Now I've got a sock yarn blanket on the go, as you might know. You long sufferers will have seen it. But I'm always producing new sock scraps. So I wanted to do a lefty for ages. But what's holding me back is that the sock scraps I've got in spades, but the sort of background neutral yarn. Neutral. It's not me, is it? So I needed to actually get some of that. So I got that. So this is Chester Wool Company. Superwash merino sock. It's 100% superwash merino. It is really, really soft. I love it. So you do the beard test. Lovely. And it's, there's 365 meters per 100 grams, so it's fairly standard, really. Really soft and lovely. I won't need 2 full skeins, but I needed more than one. So there they are. It's a really reasonable price as well. And there it is. So that's for lefty. Right. Right. I'm trying to find places to put these things. Now then, have you ever come across Easy Knits? It's a company run by a guy called John, who has the most amazing tattoo on his arm. It's of knitting. It goes all around his arm, and it's just the needles and then the knitted fabric. It's really cool. He designed it himself. He's got a new tattoo this year of his dog, which is a sausage dog. Now, anybody who knows me will know I'm mad for sausage dogs. It's absolutely gorgeous on his shoulder here. So anyway, enough about him. I can tell his stall. You can just catch a glimpse of some of his yarn, because it's just the saturation and the colours are just so distinctive. I bought two skeins from him last year. One of them I made into a pair of socks, which I was gutted that didn't fit me, and I gave them to a lovely friend. And then just a couple months ago, I made my Finally Mine socks with it. So I actually got a pair of socks in them with the leftovers. I'll put a pic in. So I love the colours, and so I bought a couple of skeins from his stall. So this is the first. Bring it up close. Oh, that's good. So it's Deeply Wicked again, which is the style, and it's Hulk Smash is the colour. So it's 75-25, 425 meters. So that explains why I managed to get 2 pairs of socks out of it. Absolutely stunning, and I can't wait to see how those colours come out. And stockinette is the thing for me. I did a pattern on the first pair of socks with my Easy Knits, and I preferred the underside. Stockinette it's beautiful. It's made for stockinette. So I'm so excited. You know, I said I was going to put aside 3 sock projects. This I very much think is going to be one of them. I don't think I can wait to knit with that. Really, really pleased with that. And the other skein I bought is this. So it's on the twinkle base. So hard to catch the twinkles, but I think you're getting them. And I'm going through a real blue and green phase at the moment, teals. So it's the colourway is Kraken, and it's 75/20 with 5% stellina, and it's 400 meters for the 100 grams. So that is probably going to be in a shawl, I would think. I'm trying to put together some combinations for some of the bigger shawls. So that's my Easy Knits. I'll put a link to their website. Right, so I have a hat pattern that's been in my queue for a long time. I was going to knit it for me, but then I don't wear hats, so that's probably why it's been in my queue for a long time. But my mum-in-law picked it out while we're on holiday, and she would quite like it. It's called Bellezza. I'll put the details up here. Apologies for the poor pronunciation. She wanted an oatmeal, so I got her this. Is that oatmeal? I don't know. It's West Yorkshire Spinners. The colour seems to be, I don't know. It's West Yorkshire Spinners, but it's Croft, so it's Shetland Island wool. I have a skein of this in a speckly colour thing that somebody bought for me, Dollbelly bought for me, that I haven't used yet. It's nice and soft, and it's certainly got the yardage I need. Again, it's 3 skeins of cream yarn. It's really unlike me, but there it is. Okay, also I have a pattern of crocheted, oh, is it crocheted? Yeah, I think it is. Shawl called Lula. I'll put it up here. And it wants a gradient cake. Now I'm fascinated by gradients. I love, I quite like solid colours. I like tonal coloured yarns. I love self-striping and I love gradients. I'm not that keen on speckles and sort of wild colours and things, but this is what I got for that pattern. So it looks like a very slow transition from white to, it's not as dark as it's showing up there. An aquamarine, I would say. So this is Pook GB. I needed slightly more meterage than was on this skein, and they told me that she actually does custom dyes and custom meterage, which is amazing. So you can see, I mean, that's a fairly distinct name, you can find them on the web. 80% superwash merino, 20% silk. So you can imagine how soft it is. So it's 200 gram skeins basically, connected together, and it's Faded Blue is the name of the colourway. So but she said it's 200 grams, it's probably more like 205, so the meterage is probably fine. I'll blag it, it'll be fine. And of course it's already ready to centre pull, which is fab. So that's for me, so I probably won't do that until after Christmas knitting, probably January, something like that. And this is something else I was looking for. I used a West Yorkshire Spinner's signature for a pair of socks a couple of months ago for a friend. And although I got really muddled up with the centre pull, it really messed it up, so I think I'll do this from the outside. I loved the way the colour changes went, and this is perfect. My youngest daughter is gay, and we love pride colours and rainbow stuff, and I just want to make her something with this. We haven't decided what yet. Could be a couple of pairs of socks, but she's still growing, so I'm quite reluctant to make hand knit socks for small people because they grow out of them. And she does tend to treat her socks very badly. She's knit worthy because I love her, but not knit worthy enough to make her socks because, you know, they will get trashed. She'll wear them on the trampoline and outside in the mud or whatever. So this colourway, they don't put the names on, sadly. You can, when you see them on the web, sometimes they've got names on, but there's only numbers on when you actually see it on the ball. But this is a really reasonable ball of yarn, and I've had a problem with one black ball of West Yorkshire Spinners, and all of my friends agreed it was really rough and horrible. Don't know why, but everything else I've had from them has been lovely, and there's a lot of people who use them, and they've got a very good reputation, so I think I just was unlucky. So I'm really looking forward to working with that. That was actually on my shopping list. Right, what else? Okay, so I had, from Yarndale before, I had a little pot of these, fripperies and bibelots, which, you know, the name itself is just so cool. And it's a tiny little pot, and it's these tiny little O-ring things, is that what they're called? How do I show you because they're so tiny? I remember seeing somebody try to do this before, ended up tipping them all over the floor. Tiny little stitch markers. Of all the stitch markers I've got, it's those that I use the most. They're so quick and easy to use, but unfortunately they're quick and easy to lose as well. And I've lost quite a few of them on the floor of the car or goodness knows where. So I had to get a new pot. That was pretty exciting because they're so cute. But I also, from the same stand, got something else which was really cute. So it's from Higher. And I just kind of know them from making needles. I didn't know they did other stuff as well. But it's a really cute little thing. It's a little pouch. And then if you squeeze it in the right place and not the wrong place, aha. And then it spews out these little stitch markers. So the tiny little balls. So there's no catching. I think if you've got really fine yarn or really hairy yarn, it's very easy for it to catch in metal rings. So this is just for that occasion, and for the fact that, you know, if you've got a project that you need sort of 6 markers on it, how cool would it be to have all these 6 hanging off of it? And they've got quite a wide, well, not so you can use them for any size of needle. I just loved them. I had kind of thought I might have them as a gift, but then I decided not to. So yeah, I love the way it opens like a frog's mouth. Give me that stitch marker. So in they go. Everywhere, I've dropped them everywhere. Never mind. Right, on to the next thing. So fairly early on in our tour of the venue, we found a stand called Fine Fish Yarns, and they have a whole range of wonderful yarns. And I was particularly struck by a yarn which was merino, silk and yak. A lady who was serving on the stall called Lindsay, who had the most beautiful hair. I'll show you her here. She said, once you yak, you don't go back. So anyway, I was very taken by this yarn and putting together some different colours. If you've watched before, you'll know I'm not particularly good with colours, so if I'm going to choose colours, I tend to like to have somebody professional around me. So she was very helpful. And I didn't have these on my list, but I bought 3 skeins of this. So it's 65% merino, 20% silk, 15% yak in these 3 colours. So I'm just waiting till the camera picks them up. Yeah, that's not bad. So this is a teal, quite a dark teal. It's quite tonal as well. No, that's rubbish. This is a purple. That's good. That's quite a dark purple again, and again quite tonal. And this is a, oh, what would you call that? Mustard? Green? I don't know. They're absolutely gorgeous, but it was interesting. There was no colourway names on the ball band, and I said, oh, I want to say what colours they are. Can you tell me what colours? So she wrote them down for me. This is Squid Ink, and this one is Summer Sour. And of course they're sort of fishy, fine fish yarn, so it's mostly seafood or fish related. But she said, oh, the purple one, I haven't named that one yet. She said, why don't you name it? Really? Well, that was a bit exciting. So me and Lindsay, who was on the stall, we Googled purple fish and purple sea creatures, aquatic creatures, and we came up with the Googly-eyed Stubby Squid. Here's a pic. Which is purple. It's not quite this purple, but it is purple. So we decided we were going to call this Stubby. I don't know whether Mrs. Finefish, Ms. Finefish, picked up on that and she's going to continue to use that name or not. But I got to name my own colourway just for a day, and that's enough for me. So I bought these 3 together, not really knowing what I planned for them, not on my shopping list. But just, it was a lovely experience being on that stand. They're really lovely people, and I'm just really happy with it. It's very, very soft, and it's 480 meters, which is 120 grams. So that's fairly standard fingering, I guess. We take off about 20% of that. Yes, it's just it's kind of maybe fine fingering. It's superwash merino as well, although the silk and the yak, I don't know how you wash that, so that will definitely be getting some very delicate hand washing. So yeah, didn't have a plan at the time for these, but don't worry, there will be a plan. The funny thing was that later on, I took lots of my friends and we did quite a lot of driving around to pick everybody up, and they really kindly bought me some prezzies from the show, which was fab. One of my friends bought me this. So this is from Mothy and the Squid. It's another dye with beautiful Instagram feed, really strong saturated colours. She said when she gave it, it's the most eye-searing purple I could find, because as you know, purple and teal are my colours. It's gorgeous, and that will definitely be some heels in some very nice socks. But look at the picture, and do you know what it's called? The colourway is called Stubby Squid. How amazing is that in the same room as this was there, Stubby Squid colourway, we named another purple yarn Stubby after the Stubby Squid. That just completely, it just blew me away. But yeah, it is very bright and I love it. It's going to look fab on some of my socks. So that was such a lovely present. Thank you, Amy. So, right, now then. Two of my other friends also bought me a present while we were there. This is, it's a dyeing kit, but it's acid dyes. I've never used acid dyes before, so that's quite a new thing for me. It's Easy Fix all-in-one acid milling dye. So it's got magenta, scarlet, lemon, golden yellow, ultramarine and turquoise in it. No purple, so they had to buy me the purple as well. Bless them. So it's a kit with gloves and pipettes and instructions and a shade card. It looks wonderful. I am very excited about it. I don't know when I'm going to start using it. I need to get some extra kit, don't I? Because you can't use your normal saucepans and things with acid dyes from what I've seen. So, because up till now I've been using edible dyes. So that is really exciting, and that's a new step for me as just, you know, just an own use dyer. I'm never going to dye to sell. Having dyed a few skeins myself, I have great respect for yarn dyers and what they go through and the effort and all that stuff. Is no way I'd ever dye to sell. But that's really exciting, isn't it? What else? I think, oh yeah, well, now I need some yarn to dye, right? So I have been looking for packs of skeins, because the first time I bought a bag of 5 skeins, and they came out about £6.13 or something like that per skein, which I thought was good, because then I had the dyes in, and it's not very much for a skein of yarn, and I really enjoy knitting with it. So as long as it's a decent quality, it was a little bit splitty. That was the yarn that I made this with. It was splitty and it upset me a bit, so that wasn't such good quality. But I hadn't been able to find anything that price again, so I haven't had any yarn to dye for quite a while. But obviously the show was the place to do it. So I came across a store which was, oh, that's a pattern. That's not what I wanted. These guys. yarnundyed.com. Now they're in Bradford, which is very local to me. And they had, it's a family company, and they had some brilliant yarns for dyeing. So let me show you this. It's not the softest of fibres, and I didn't want the softest of fibres because I don't want to risk messing it up, and I only want to make socks with them anyway. So these were £6.30 a skein, which was comparable to what I'd paid before. But the difference is, if you bought a bag of 5 skeins, you got it for the price of 4. So I brought it down to £5 a skein. Now for me, it doesn't look as if it's going to split. You don't really know till you start working with it, but it is, what's the fibre? Let me just grab one of these bags. It's 75% superwash wool and 25% nylon. So it's the basic. It's not merino. It's not anything fancy, but it is superwash, which is important for me because it means that I'm less likely to mess it up with the dyeing. I am very much an amateur dyer, as you will know if you've seen me before. So 400 meters, 100 grams, pretty standard. So I bought 2 bags of 5 skeins, so I now have 10 skeins to dye, which with all my Wilton's food dyes and my Kool-Aid and now my acid dyes, I've got plenty to go at now, which is fabulous. This is fine fish yarns. If I showed you that. So that was really great. So now I've got loads and loads of yarn dyeing that I can do. Don't think I'll be doing much of that till after Christmas. Just get the Christmas stuff done. This is the Yarndale book, and I was quite excited because I had a full-page advert in it for Creative Escape. Yay! So I'm almost done with my purchases. Later on in the show, I came across a stand which was Belinda Harris Reid, and she's got no colour on her stand, and she doesn't wear any colour. It's all neutrals. So she produces neutral yarn, browns, creams, just, you know, very, very natural colours. Not me at all. But she had a shawl which was on the wall, and it had a great story to it. Look at that. It's printed in black and white, but it was in black and white anyway. She was on a stand. She was at Edinburgh Wool Festival next to Stephen West, and he said to her, "You haven't got any colour and you haven't got any short row shaping. What's wrong with you, woman?" Basically. So she created a pattern with short row shaping and stuff for, I guess, an homage to Stephen West, and that is called Jazz, and I loved it. Crucially, a lot of shawls look really lovely on the blocking boards or pinned up somewhere or spread out on a nice wooden floor, but when you actually wear them, that you lose a lot of the design features of it, and it's not so attractive anymore. This one, you can see from those pictures I've just shown you, it is actually very attractive when worn. And of course I'm not going to go for cream and natural and brown, that's just not me. But I had a thought, what about this? My fine fish trio. Why not? So I think they would be perfect for that. So although I didn't want to buy yarn that I didn't have a plan for, I eventually didn't, because I now have 3 skeins of yarn and a pattern, and I have a plan, so that's good. And the final thing that I bought at Yarndale was, you know, my Stephen West shawl, the Chevron Shenanigans, wasn't big enough, couldn't block it because it's acrylic, but I needed something to hold it in place. Well, I bought something. So it's in olive wood, and it's this. So you just kind of, let me show you. Put it through, and then put that through like that. I needed something that was quick release because at my stage of life, I'm perimenopausal, I get hot, and I have to get this thing off now, so I can just quick release, take it off. So it's perfect. It's, I wish I could remember the name of the store I bought it from. There were loads and loads of wooden shawl pins, and I pretty much bought the first one that I loved. And there were others that I also loved, but I was very happy with this, so I'm not worried about that. So that is the end of my Yarndale purchases. So other Yarndale excitement, I mentioned earlier on one of the first stands that I was on, I bumped into Carmen from the New Leaf podcast, and that was really exciting. So you look at somebody and think, oh, I know you, and you think, oh yeah, you know, is it someone I know from my work or from whatever? And then I think, oh my god, no, it's somebody I know from the telly, as it were. It's somebody, a podcaster I watch. I was quite excited by that. So Carmen, if you're watching, I apologise. I was a little bit starstruck. So got a selfie, which I'll show you. And that was awesome. So I also arranged to meet another podcast, that's Gemma B Makes. She's quite local to me, and she was coming to Yarndale, so we had a cup of tea together. That was really lovely. So I got to see what she'd bought, and she'd been on a brioche workshop, and we met up, so that was really, really nice. And I had Doll Belly with me, so it was a very podcasty festival. Okay, so what else? Oh yes, so I did a macrame workshop yesterday with Mooland Gifts. That's Amanda. She has a podcast and she does workshops in here. She also sells her art. She's done some amazing stuff. I've never done macrame before, but I really fancied having a go at it. And my eldest daughter has expressed an interest in 70s plant pot holders. We had loads of them when I was growing up. She's expressed an interest in one of those. So I was delighted to go along to a workshop and it was fab. Are you ready? Teal, what a surprise. I made that. So I haven't tied the ends off yet or done anything with these. It's not perfect. I probably need to trim these as well. But I loved it. Absolutely loved it. It was a brilliant workshop as well. If you're local and you haven't done a workshop on macrame, then just, get in touch with Mooland Gifts because she'll be doing more. Absolutely brilliant. Really loved it. Had plenty of chance. This is cotton. It's lovely and soft. Had plenty of chance to explore. I made up this bit at the bottom. It wasn't quite. I went a bit off-piste. And yeah, explore all the different knots. I mean, there's actually only 3 different knots in all of this, and one of them is to attach it to the pole. So it's just, it was fab. I had a wonderful time. Thank you, Amanda. And the other thing, Creative Escape. So we have our first retreat in November, and there are still 3 rooms available if you're interested in a retreat. Knitting, crochet, workshops, little tour of Harrogate, breakfast, lunch, afternoon tea, 3-course dinner, loads of time to wander around, pop-up shop from Northshire Yarns, which made the beautiful silky yarn that I did the shawl out with. So lots and lots of stuff going on. Have a look at the website if you fancy a little break in November. And finally, the Knitting and Stitching show is at the end of November. I'm going to be on the Northshire Yarn stand. So I'm working for Annika selling the yarn. So I'll be able to talk about all of that and wearing my little shawlette when I finished it. But I'll also be talking to people about Creative Escape. So if you're interested in this gorgeous smooshy yarn, which I've then come along to the stand, if you are interested in talking about Creative Escape, come along. And if you just want to say hi, come along. We'll talk about that nearer the time. Just wanted to kind of get that in your diary. When is it? I'll put it up here. Okay. Right. I think we're all done. If you've got all the way to the end here, well done. Thank you very much for watching. With your new or long suffering, thank you. I really appreciate you coming along and sitting with me for a bit. If you've enjoyed the video, click the thumbs up. If you want to know about future ones, then subscribe and click the bell. If you want to know more about something I've mentioned, then just click on the link below, which will take you to Ravelry. If you don't already have a Ravelry username, it'll just prompt you to make one up. Just think of the first thing that comes into your head and a password. Log in, and then you'll be able to see all of the show notes, so links to patterns and people and everything. I'll be back in a couple of weeks. If there's anything that's interested you here, just pop a comment down below. I really, really enjoy responding to comments, or a comment on the on the Ravelry group either. That'll be fab. Okay, let's just say one final goodbye to the tiny cat. I can unstick you from there. Shalom. Bye bye. See you in a couple of weeks. Bye.